Yeah, just really want to clarify the questioning of the decor of the house, actually, that I live in. The curtains, they're not ones that have been selected by myself or Michaela, my wife. It's we rent the property, so I just want to get that out there and clear that up. So they're not curtains of choice, but they're very, very thick, and they keep the cold out and the warmth in, so they do their job. But yeah, hopefully I'm going to get some sort of a sponsorship deal from some curtain place.
On that note, Jazz, do you want to kick us off, please?
Well, okay then, Wayne, is it fair to say you've had a bit of a feedback on those curtains?
Yeah, there's been a lot of feedback, and from all over the globe, really. It's sort of taken off. So I do seriously hope that I'm going to get a windfall from that.
Just 24 hours on, what are your reflections on your Six Nations winners?
Yeah, look, it was a really it was an emotional roller coaster the last 7 days, really, because we put in by far our best performance against the French, and I think that we'd done enough midway through the second half to have won that game, but it wasn't to be. So, and to lose it in the last play of the game was devastating. So the boys really wanted that grand slam. So you have the lows, I guess, of not achieving that, and then not knowing whether you're good enough to win a championship or not, having to wait 7 days, and then to go through that match, which looking back on it now was an really exciting match from our point of view, watching. And there were so many moments in that game which kept us on our toes. So, yeah, it was just different. And that's, I guess, what we've come to expect from this pandemic, really. We talk about chaos and making significant change and having to adapt and things like that. And, it was really evident in this competition that we had to go and do something different. And that is watch us win a championship from our individual lounges.
You won't be lifting the trophy in an empty Stade de France, but you also won't be lifting it in a stadium. What's it going to be like, do you think, in terms of how strange the setup is? And, you've won this big competition and you can't, as you say, celebrate with all the fans in a packed stadium.
Yeah, we'd really love to do that, obviously. It means so much to the players and the management to be involved in a packed house, and I've been fortunate enough a couple of times so far to have had matches at the stadium with a full house, and it's just a wonderful experience for everybody concerned. And not to be able to do that with them is disappointing, but certainly I know with the response we've had in the last 24 hours or not quite 24 hours has been significant, and so it's not lost on us, what winning does to everybody in the community. So. Look, we're used to being on our own, if you like, in our bubble, and preparing for matches and playing matches without crowds. And this is just an extension of that, I guess. And it's just the times we live in. But certainly, our thoughts will be with all of our, our rugby family and all the supporters and the nation, really, because it's something like that gives everyone a lift, and we're just proud to have been part of it.
When you took a lot of flack after 2020 from a lot of people. How were you able to cope with that? And also, how have you turned it around so quickly?
Because it's not about me. It's about a team. We are very much a team, and you'll hear coaches talk about it all the time. But genuinely, this group is a team, and we put the team first in every aspect. And so I guess it's just having faith in the people around you. The board have been very, very supportive. Obviously, we laid out a plan through the Rugby World Cup at the start of this tenure, and we've stuck to that. And I've been regularly reporting to my board and giving them updates. So really, it's just knowing that you've got the support of your chairman and his board and your CEO, and that's been evident all the way through. So for me personally, that's all I need to know. And I know that the rugby public hurt when we don't win a test match. And we hurt just like they do. So that's expected. It goes with the territory. So, I know that if we're good enough, we're going to have moments like this, and that makes up for any of the bad times.
And now short-term and long-term, Wayne, what's next? What are you expecting this summer as we stand? And you've always said that the 2023 World Cup is the ultimate goal. Do you feel like you're on the right path now?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it was really important for us to express ourselves in the way we want to play the game. And I think, in France, a lot of things started to click against a quality opposition. So for us, that gives us the confidence, with no disrespect to the Italys of the world, to score a few tries against a side like that. You've got to back it up against a quality team, like one of the top sort of 3 or 4 teams in the world. And to do that against France, and albeit come up short at the end, gives us a lot of confidence to think that we're on the right track. We aren't the finished product. We will keep improving and fine-tuning. But I think now, I always said it, after the Six Nations, we draw a line in the sand and see how we are. And I think we're measuring up quite nicely. But we can't get ahead of ourselves. There's still a long way to go. And as you've seen in the Six Nations, Scotland's improved, Ireland's improved, England beat the French. So there's no easy games when it comes to Six Nations, and Rugby World Cup is obviously going to be the ultimate for us.
And are you expecting any rugby this summer for Wales?
Yes. A lot of conversations around whether we'll be touring or whether someone will come here. Those discussions are ongoing, and I'd like to think in the next week or two, we'd be in a much better position just to talk exact opposition and dates. But at the moment, it's Uruguay and 2 tests in Argentina. We've just got to make sure, though, that everything meets up with the government expectations in relation to COVID. So, it's a moving thing that we discuss on a regular basis.
Thank you, Wayne. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hi Wayne, Beth here. So I'm not putting my camera on because I'm actually at the hairdressers, so you do not want to see me in this state. Listen, a huge congratulations. At the start of this campaign, you talked about performance versus points. Well, you've got the points. How do you rate your performance during the Six Nations?
Firstly, Beth, you sure it's not your curtains are worse than mine? No, look, the performances I just touched on have improved, and it's closer to where we want to be. Obviously, getting the points is vital. At the end of the day, we play the game to win, and that's what people want to see. So the fact that we've put in some good performances in the Six Nations and shown the level of improvement that was required, both with the ball and without the ball, our set piece, I think our all-round game has improved, and that's down to a lot of hard work by the coaching staff, and I've got a fantastic coaching staff who do a great job, and the players who have had to work really hard and buy into any changes that we've made. I think twofold, the performances have improved and the results have come, so very pleased with it.
I know we don't want to talk too much about the future because we want to talk about now, but immediately for you, what would be the next transition for Wales now? Because it's been such a a move from autumn to now. What would be the one thing you really want to go for now?
Well, summer tour, I'd like to, first and foremost, there's a British and Irish Lions side that Warren will select. And, we'd like to think that we'll get a good representation there, which again leads us to the summer tour, which is going to be an opportunity to blood more players. Some players that have had a taste in the autumn, have a re-look at some of those players and make sure that we're building the depth. And we want to have a ranking system within Wales where we're comfortable from 1 to 5 in every position. That would be ideal. We're not there yet. So the summer tour will be another opportunity to build on that depth.
2 more questions from me. Quite a lot of people on Twitter, social media, saying this is one of the best Six Nations they've watched. How do you feel about that? How was it? Obviously, you won it, but from a performance point of view, in terms of all the teams, how would you say that?
Well, I think there were some great games to watch. I really enjoyed watching. Obviously, we're looking at all the opposition quite closely, but as a fan, sometimes just sitting watching the other games, there were some great games, I thought. It was just a shame that we didn't have crowds, because you can imagine some of the rugby that was played, how much of an atmosphere would have been generated at the stadium. So, look, it was disappointing that the crowds weren't there, but I thought there was some fantastic rugby played. I thought it was a good advertisement, this competition, for the game. And, a couple of years out from a Rugby World Cup, I think a lot of nations are heading in the right direction, and it's exciting.
Last question for me. You seem quite a cool cucumber with this. I just want to, can you just give us an insight of your emotions, especially, the last week or so, being on the brink of your first big title with Wales?
Yeah, we like to keep a lot of that stuff to ourselves, don't we? But look, the last week, it probably took me to about Wednesday or Thursday to really want to come out of the house, purely from the point of view that I just felt it was a sickening feeling for the players who'd worked so hard, and we desperately wanted that Grand Slam for so many reasons, for the hard work that went in. The style of rugby that we played, and to win it that way would have been fantastic. But we really, really wanted to do it for the people of Wales, who, you know, had to put up with a lot in the last 12 months. And we've all had to live through this thing. And, you know, it was really, really hard to take, I've got to say. And but, you know, the sun does come up in the morning, as people say. And I tell a lot of people that, you know, and you're a long time not on this earth. So you've got to pick yourself up, and that's what I had to do, and then go through that 80 minutes hoping that we'd get the right result, and just thankfully we did. Listen,
it's been a pleasure to be, you know, part of this, and you've made a nation proud. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Wayne. Simon here.
Hi, Simon.
Congratulations, first of all. Well done. Two-part question, really, for you. If you had to pick out one kind of defining decision by the management, and then one defining moment on the pitch that kind of led to this Six Nations trial, what would you pick out?
Yeah, look, I think you know what I want to say, but I'm not going to say it. So there are some tough decisions that have to be made at times, you know, and I think we haven't shied away from making some tough calls, whether that's selections. But look, you know, I think sticking with our plan, making sure that we were true to ourselves. In the autumns, I look back to the Italian game. There's a lot of discussion around putting the top side, what could have been the top side on paper, out. But no was the answer. We're going to go with, you know, a sort of a mixed side that we put out, because it was about a result, yes, but also development and sticking to the plan, which was big picture stuff for the Rugby World Cup. So I think we've all got a lot tighter as a group, very, very tight, in fact, because we've gone through that autumn. And I think that's really, really important in any organisation. It's really easy to, you know, when you're winning, to sit here and talk about the team. But I think we got a lot of strength out of that campaign, and I think a lot of belief from players. So there were a lot of little things that we did, but there were a couple of big decisions that were made as well, which aren't always easy, but certainly you got to go with your gut feel sometimes. And look, I think we've come out the other end, and I just want to stress, though, that we can't get ahead of ourselves, because we've won one competition, and we know that we've got to back that up with good performances next time around. I know that was a long-winded answer, sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, and on the field, is there a moment during any of those games, be it a last-ditch tackle or a try, that you thought, yeah, that was an absolute key moment looking back?
Yeah, I think there was some defence against Scotland at 17-8, just after half-time it might have been. And there was some really, really good defence went in. I think we made a sub and put Leon Brown on. We're under the pump at the scrum. I think Thomas France had done a great job at that point, but he was on empty. You know, and we put in a couple of great scrums with Leon out there. You know, and of course there was that magnificent try from Louis Rees-Zammit for us to win that Scotland game. So there were some big moments, some very, very big moments, and the most disappointing moment was not getting the penalty try on the line-out drive, because I think that was a massive part of the work that we'd put in this campaign, was to get the drive going. And it would have been lovely to have won a Grand Slam on the back of it.
Cheers, and thank you for your cooperation during this honour.
Thank you, Simon.
Guys, last 2 minutes with Wayne, and then Alan Wynne will be popping in. So who's next, please?
Hi Wayne, it's Alex here. Just one question from me. You've coached at regional level where the sides struggle against English and Irish opposition, but at Welsh Test level, the success keeps coming in. I mean, now you've been both sides of the fence. Why do you think that is, when in reality you'd think the national team would struggle given the regional struggles?
I think at the Scarlets we did quite well against English sides and Irish sides, with 14 men away and winning, the only team to win away semi-finals. So Welsh teams have done it, and there's been some pretty good Ospreys sides in the past. But look, it's consistency, which is really, really important. I think there's something about the jersey. It's something that I've certainly learned. I see the look in players' eyes that I've coached at the Scarlets, but I see it in the change room with Wales. There's a real steely determination confidence is a big thing with this Welsh side. Once they get a roll on, and the media have picked up on it many times in the past about, getting through that first, second game, and then they get a roll on, and it's very, very true. But it's just, I think everybody knows their rugby history in Wales. I think young rugby players grow up dreaming about pulling the jersey on, and when they do, it means so much to them. I think we understand that we just custodians of the jersey for a period of time. And so we want to do the best by it and make a nation proud, really. It's really, really a privileged position to be in when you represent a country where your sport is the number one sport. And certainly it's not lost on this group of players. And, I was just privileged to be in and around them in this competition to see this come through at the end. And, hopefully we can have many more tournaments like it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Final question for Wayne before we wrap up, please.
Hi Wayne, it's Matt here. Just one quick one from myself. Your captain, Alan Wynne, came into this tournament having not played any rugby since the last campaign. He was facing some criticism himself. Obviously, he responded the way that most of us thought he would. What did you make of his response, and how good was he, having not played any rugby in the 2 months before the tournament?
You could also add in Ken Owens and Jonathan Davies and probably Liam Williams into that mix too. And it's really interesting when Neil Jenkins talked to me around, there are players he believed, with the length of time he's been involved, that can come in with no rugby because they are great rugby players and they can just step in and deliver a certain performance. So people like Neil give me a lot of confidence when we're talking selections around certain players. Look, Alan Wynne is, he's going to go down as one of the greatest players of all time, and rightly so. I suspected he would go well, but he even surpassed what I thought he would deliver. Superb, and it's not just what you see on a given day in a test match. It's what he does every minute of every training session. He leads from the front physically. It's just incredible where he gets the motivation from. It's the pride in the jersey and playing for his country. So for a small nation, people will say we punch above our weight, but there's a lot of history there and a lot of motivated people, and he's our leader on the field and off the field. He does a fantastic job, and along with other leaders in this team, they've done very well.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks very much, everyone.